Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Josh Hokit, who will fight on Contender Series August 19th. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, and you are just one fight away from being called a UFC fighter. So, if you can tell me, do you consider this fight as the biggest like moment of your overall MMA career or even like sports career?
MMA, sure. I would say, yeah. There's a lot riding on this fight, obviously, to get in the UFC. But I've had big moments like this with, with my football career, and even with wrestling. So yeah, I'm no stranger to the big moment. So this moment feels familiar to me, if that makes any sense. Yeah, but this is it's a big opportunity, but it's just a step in the right direction.
So probably it can be your advantage because you have the experience with this kinds of moments, because usually when the fighter is just 5-0, this is definitely the biggest moment of his career, and he can be like scared or a little bit stressed too much, and like from your perspective, it's probably not so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I still have the same emotions as the other guy. I feel the pressure, but I've been competing at a high level for a very long time, and so yeah, I just know how to go about it. And yeah, a guy like my opponent, he seems like he's an emotional guy. The way he fights, the way he carries himself, inside the octagon. So yeah, I think the pressure will affect him a lot more than it affects me.
And actually, I think that there is something interesting in your MMA career, because just 1 year ago, you were a 1-0 fighter. So probably when you were at that moment, do you thought did you think that in 1 year you can be in the Contender Series?
Uh, if I was at any other weight class, it would be different. But heavyweight fighting is not, it's not very high level fighting. That's the reality. These guys are big and lazy and kind of stupid. They don't use their mind a whole lot. So um, yeah, I thought I could catch them pretty quickly. Even a guy that's been training, for 10 plus years, I feel like with the short amount of time that I've been training, I feel like I'm already leaps and bounds better than him. On top of my background with playing football and being a high level wrestler, I'm just a different type of athlete. Uh, there's levels to this game, so that's how I look at it.
And did you have a chance to watch any footage of your opponent? Do you consider him as the fighter who can be a threat for you?
Well, I mean, heavyweights, they're always going to be a threat because they're big, powerful guys, and if you get hit with their big power punches, uh, anybody could get put to sleep or lose the fight. So yeah, I mean, I got to be cautious, but I believe in my ability. I don't think he has what it takes to beat me. He has a limited skill set. He's not very big, not very tall. He doesn't have length on his side. He doesn't have speed on his side. And so if you come in to the octagon anywhere close to the same attributes as me, I think I'd just rip you to pieces.
Yes, I watched some of his fights, and he's like 6'1", so for heavyweight, he's not like he got not super big frame, to be honest.
Exactly. He's like there's other heavyweights. I mean, even some of the heavyweights I train with, some of them are like 6'6", 6'7", long, rangy, athletic guys. And so he doesn't pose a threat physically. And to me, that's the only advantage you're going to have over me because you won't have the skill advantage and you won't have the mentality over me. So you got to come in here with more power, more speed, or height, length, those type of things. But he doesn't. So I think it's going to be a long night for him, or maybe a quick short night. So yeah.
Yes, I would guess that probably it can be a short night because except the first fight of yours that were in that ended in the third round, you smashed your opponents quite quickly. So in the
Yes.
end, it can be a quite quick night.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yes,
Go
yes.
ahead. Yeah, I mean, from my first fight to even looking at my last, I'm evolving at a rapid pace. I'm improving. I'm studying more. I'm understanding the game, and so yeah, I'm not looking to get the guy out of there quickly, but we start wrestling, and then the guy kind of just gives up. You know, that's the reality of the heavyweights. They have a good 3 minutes in them, and then they just roll over, and then especially if you wrestle. They only got a good 1 minute of wrestling in them. So, um, yeah, that's the reality of the heavyweight division.
And sometimes for the heavyweight fighter, it's hard, it's tough for him to find a good sparring partners because there are not a lot of good heavyweights. And for you, can you share some like names of the heavyweights or even light heavyweights, a little bit bigger fighters that you have a chance to train with?
Yeah, I mean, there's not very many well-known guys at my gym, but we have a good stable of middleweights, like a guy like Lawan Davis. He's a regional champ over at Peak Fighting. Uh, Here in Albuquerque, and then like Christian Edwards, former Bellator guy, Davion Franklin, former Bellator guy, Dontel Mays, former UFC guys, and I've even got to train with John Jones a little bit for his last fighting camp, and I got to train with all those the guys that he brought in, like Gordon Ryan and stuff like that. So um, I've got to see some high level fighters, you know. And in this case, John Jones is considered the best. So it was cool to see um, how my skills go against the best ever, you know. So that gives me confidence in itself.
And you had your first two bouts in Bellator, and did it ever was a chance for you to fight in PFL?
Yeah, so I did fight on one PFL card because they switched Bellator switched over to PFL. Um, yeah, they offered me a contract, but it just didn't make sense. You know, I was fighting for a little bit more money, and then they wanted me to take a lot less money, and then our relationship wasn't good. I mean, they only let me fight 2 times in 2 years, you know, and I didn't want to do that. So the regional scene was the better option. Um, and ultimately, I was just looking at it. I never really wanted to fight in the PFL tournament. I've always wanted to be in the UFC. So, you know, growing up, it's not oh, I want to be Bellator champion, be PFL champion. I want to be UFC champion. And so, at the end of the day, that was what swayed me in that direction. You know, and I was only 2-0, and so at the time they wouldn't put me in the tournament. You know, and so I needed more experience and I needed it fast. So I went to LFA, and I've already fought 3 times this year, and Contender Series will be my fourth time. So it was the right decision.
Yes, 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 definitely. And because of course the heavyweight division is not deep, so it's a big chance that you will win this fight and you will get the contract. But when you are thinking about like possibility of your UFC debut, do you have maybe some name in mind that the fight make sense and can happen?
Yeah, Alvin Hines. He just recently got signed on short notice to the UFC, but he's been running from me on the regional scene, and so um, he can't run from me any longer. So I think that would be a great first fight. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, you know, I'm focused on this fight ahead, but I really want Alvin Hines a first fight in the UFC. I feel like that would be a good little tune-up fight, you know, just to get my feet wet inside of a UFC event, you know, and I think that would be a good matchup. Um, Yeah, I was supposed to fight him on 4 days' notice, and he declined. I was gonna fight him on 4 days' notice in his hometown, and he said no, and he wanted to fight some guy that he knew he was gonna beat. So um, I think he was running from me, and so now I have to make him pay for it.
And actually, the heavyweight division is also not only super deep, but it's kind of weird one because UFC get rid of like Jairzinho Rozenstruik, recently Martin Buday, who just won his fight against Bushesha. Because it's not deep, it's actually, I think that especially with your kind of activity, because in LFA you were like super active, with maybe like 2 wins, you can be around even top 10.
Yeah, exactly. So I think after I win in this contender series, I feel like it's just gonna go. My career is gonna go fast, because there's not a lot of heavyweights, and I mean the heavyweight division is boring, and they need someone to spice it up. I mean, a lot of these heavyweights, even the heavyweights you just named, they don't even speak English. So it's like, how are you supposed to get the fans involved? How does the fans even supposed to want to see you? And like, don't get me started with Boudet. I mean, have you looked at the guy? No one wants to see someone that fat fight. You know, there, there's only when you're that fat, you're only good for one thing, and that's being the lunch lady at Chipotle. When you go to Chipotle, they got Chipotle in Poland.
No, no, but
You,
I know, yes,
you know
but
what
I know,
Chipotle
yes.
is? Yeah, so that's the only time you want to see a fat guy is when they're serving you food at Chipotle because they're gonna scoop big scoops of rice for you, big scoops of beans, big scoops of chicken and steak. Nobody wants to see that on TV fighting another man. Like put your shirt back on is what I'm thinking when I see him on TV and he's fighting naked. Like with no shirt on. And so I mean, it's boring, and then they don't speak English. And so they need someone to shake up the division, and I think that could be me.
And actually, you have this because you are not like 265 heavyweight, you are like 240, let's say. And did you like to watch guys like let's say Cain Velasquez, who was not definitely not like the on the heavyweight limit, but like his cardio was one of the biggest weapon of his.
Yeah, I think it's more honorable for you just to whatever you weigh, you just show up and you fight the guy. That's how it was done back in the day. There was no weight limit. And I'm talking about way back in the day when they used to fight on the battlefield. So everybody wants to be weight bullies and they want to gain weight. I don't believe weight plays a factor in a fight when you're skilled and you're smart and you're tactical. I don't believe. I feel like that was just a myth made up, and an excuse for when you got beat up at school. You would always say the guy was bigger than me. I think that was a coward way of just making an excuse for yourself for getting beat up at school by a bully that was bigger than you. I don't think weight's an advantage. If you got wrestling, you got cardio, you can move your head, you're fast. I mean, there's other things that are more important than weight. And so a lot of people make that mistake. They think they got to be fat and big, for heavyweight. But yeah, I don't see it like that. And so uh, I'm here to expose, that you don't need to be the biggest heavyweight to win.
Okay, Josh. So many thanks for the time and for conversation. I think that there is like a big chance that you will win this fight quite quickly and get a UFC contract. And I hope that maybe this year or even next year you will get some UFC fights against like quite good opponents, just to see you in their like ranked position.
Yes. Yeah, I think I want to be the most active heavyweight. I mean, that's not hard to do because heavyweights ain't very active and there's not a lot of them. But I want to. I'll start from the bottom, you know, uh, the 30th ranked or the last rank, and then I'll just work up one by one, and I'll fight every month, if they let me. And so yeah, after I win this, I want to be in the UFC, get a chance at a UFC event fairly quickly.